welcome back to Gigi's Coffee, everyone. It's your girl, Symone, aka GiGi, and I know it's been a couple of weeks, but I am back, and I am ready to go. We have a lot to talk about today, but first we're going to start with the motivational phrase of the day, which is, don't doubt yourself. You never know what you're actually capable of until you try. The biggest risk is actually not taking one. All right, guys, so in today's Random Bandom, as you can see, I'm in a different outfit, and that is because I recorded Random Bandom for this segment previously, and I didn't like it, so I cut it out, and I came back on another day. Obviously, I'm in a different outfit, and I'm just re-recording this, and I'm talking about something different and something a little bit more personal, and that is to follow up with the motivational phrase that we just talked about, which is, the only risk is not taking a risk. And so in life, sometimes you have to be okay with taking a risk, stepping out by faith. And that's exactly what I'm doing right now in life. So a couple of days ago, I completed my last day at my job. I put in my 2 weeks and I resigned with really no real clue of what is next. No job offer in sight. I just stepped out on faith. I realized that the position had nothing else for me. There was no way for me to move forward in that particular position. I put in my 2 weeks and I was praying, and I'm continuing to pray, but I thought that it was gonna come in the way that I wanted it to. And what I'm realizing is that God sometimes is gonna call you to take a risk and just to trust him. And that's exactly what I'm doing. I took a risk by leaving my job that I was comfortable at. I had been with the company for a year, and they were very used to me. They liked my work ethic. They were used to my work ethic. They enjoyed me being there. But I realized, I have so much more potential, and this position is not allowing me to fully flourish and to fully use all of my gifts. So I'm not gonna crunch myself down to settle in a position where it's just not for me anymore. And I'm not going to wait on man for a promotion. I'm going to trust God for my promotion. So the risk that I took was leaving my job. I'm going to tell you a little bit about the position. I was working at a news station as a production assistant, and I was commuting. So the job is an hour and a half from where I live. And the shift starts at 4 a.m. in the morning, and the actual show starts at 4:30, but you have to be there a little bit earlier than the show actually starts so you can get in place and get things set up if the reporters and the anchors need certain things. So the show starts at 4:30 a.m., but you want to be there roughly between 4 a.m., 4:15 a.m. And mind you, it's an hour and a half away from where I live. So I was commuting. I would wake up at 2 a.m. in the morning, get ready, get out the door, and head on the road to do that 90-minute commute to work to be there at 4 a.m. And when I initially found out about the position, I did not think I was gonna last. I didn't really want to take it. I was very displeased with the pay at the time, with what it was going to require of me. I did not like that it was going to require so much of me for so little pay, and it was very uncomfortable. But I came to the understanding that sometimes you have to get uncomfortable and do things that aren't pleasant so that you can move forward in your career and you can get more experience. And so things are not going to come easy, especially when you want to be successful. Things are definitely not going to come easy. So I stuck it out, and I honestly, I'm telling y'all, I only thought I was going to last 3 to 4 months, and I did this for a year straight. And I was going to continue the position until I realized, okay, there really is nothing left here. There's no openings coming anytime soon. I'm seeing new people come in and get hired and promoted before me in different areas, but the area that I'm looking for, which is, reporting, there's nothing else opening here because all of the anchors and the reporters that were at my news station, they were not budging, they weren't leaving, so nothing was going to open up. So I just realized it was time for me to leave. But nonetheless, I did that for a year, 5 days a week, like any other normal job, except it required an unusual amount of dedication. And I'm so proud of myself because I never thought that I would do something like that. But honestly, it's just a part of my story. And I believe that God has something amazing in store. I'm a big believer and I have a lot of faith and I dream really big. So I have a lot of goals for myself and I feel like God is my promoter, God is my provider. So I'm not going to look to man for my next promotion. So I'm working on some things right now behind the scenes that I'm not talking about publicly just yet. But I'm working on some things and I'm going to be quite busy behind the scenes working on several different things that I believe are going to propel me towards accomplishing all of my goals. But in the meantime, I just wanted to share with you all a little bit of what it was like being a production assistant at a news station at 4 a.m. in the morning, share with you all my journey. I have a few clips from when I went to work and you can see, you know, my commute and what I did. So I just wanted to share this with you guys and hopefully one day in the future we'll be able to look back on this clip together and see where I came from and just see, you know, what God had in store. But I'm excited and I just hope that I can encourage somebody else to step out on faith and be willing to take a risk. Now, if the risk doesn't make sense or you don't feel like God is leading you to do it, by all means, don't take that risk. But if you know that it's time and you know that God has provided for you and you're in a comfortable position where you can do it, then go right ahead. But I just want to encourage you, if you know it's time, then it's time. And be encouraged. God has your back. If you lead on him, he has your back. He will not disappoint. So here you go. I'm going to be showing you all a little bit of what it was like going to work at 4 a.m. working at a news station. $25 coming out to $4.
Yeah, they've rescued like 30 dogs at once. He's gonna play for sure yet. Are they gonna arrest him?
12 and around. 12 and around. I hope at least a quarter so my wife can see him. She loves him.
So along with being in the studio on the floor with the reporters and giving them cues on where to go and miking them up and miking the guests up, as well as running the teleprompter with the words and stories that they read, I also check the traffic cameras and see what's going on in the local area, and then I write the traffic scripts for the anchors so that they can read just the local traffic as well.
12-year-old Louisiana girl is doing her part to help out those in her community. You're not the only one. A recent survey finds millions of people might stay home with the case of Super Bowl fever.
It's time for the coffee scoop. It's time for the coffee scoop.
All right, so let's get into the coffee scoop. So first, we're starting with T.I. Apparently, rapper T.I. is set to teach a business of trap music class. So this is going to be at Clark, Atlanta. It's supposed to be starting up in the fall, but we know how classes have been with this pandemic going on. We're not really sure how classes are really going to start up, if they're going to be online, if they're going to do some type of dual teaching. But nonetheless, T.I. is saying that he is set to teach a class on trap music. And I would love to take this class and be in his class and have a very legendary rapper teaching me the game. I'm excited to see if he really does end up teaching this class and just to see how it turns out. But apparently he is ready to be a professor, and I think that's awesome. Okay, so we've talked about B. Symone on my channel before. She is a young woman who's a comedian, a business owner, entrepreneur. She does some acting, she raps, she's just multi-talented. But she had gotten into some situations in the media where there was some controversy going on about things that she said recently. Even though she went through controversy in the media, she decided to bounce back with a free webinar. So if you're not familiar with B. Symone, she recently wrote a book on manifesting your dreams and your goals. And it was revealed that there was some copyright infringement in her book, and there were some direct pages in her book that were taken from someone else's book. And so she, there was a lot of controversy going on. I feel like as a celebrity, you know there's going to be controversy sometimes, and if you're a business owner, sometimes not everything goes your way, but you have to know how to handle it. And she's dealt with it very well, very professionally. She apologized on social media, and she's just making sure that she's providing her customers and the people that love and support her with something in place of this book. Props to be Symone. Her webinar was actually really good. I got some good advice from it as well. There are a lot of changes going on in the culture today, one of which is bringing to the forefront how Blacks are treated. And so actor Mike Henry decided to step down from his role as Cleveland Brown. I never even knew Cleveland Brown was not a Black man. But nonetheless, Mike Henry is the voice behind Cleveland, and he decided to step down from this role. He decided that, you know, he wanted to give this role and this opportunity to a Black person. And not only that, we've seen this trending in other areas as well. There's an actress named Jenny Slate, and she abandoned her role as Missy on Big Mouth. I've never heard of Big Mouth before, but I'm gonna check it out after this. She says that Black characters should be played by Black people. And this has just been an ongoing trend. We've been hearing about this, not just with them, but there's been several other roles in the industry where people are kind of shifting and they're realizing, you know what, maybe I don't represent this particular role, and somebody else who actually lives this role on a daily basis should be able to act this position. So I think that that's just pretty cool. I'm interested to see how this impacts the industry and just what we can expect from here. Next in our coffee scoop, this is a little random, and I don't really be trying to cover politics or anything like that, but I just find this really interesting. So it said that President Donald Trump signed an executive order that will give priority skills over degrees. So he's saying that he's considering it be honored that people receive job opportunities because of their skill set, as opposed to having a degree. And if this were to take place, this would be so awesome, because there's so many people who college is just not for. And that doesn't mean that you're not talented or skilled. And then there's people who have degrees that get positions that they don't even necessarily qualify for just because of who they know or the degree or what it seems like they have. So it would just be really cool to be, you know, acknowledged for your skill set above, you know, just a degree or a title. So we'll see, you know, if anything comes from this. Hopefully it does, but we'll see. This would be really nice to have in the future, though. Okay, so next in our coffee scoop, everybody has probably already heard about Jada Smith and August Alsina. Basically, Will Smith's wife, Jada Pinkett Smith, had an affair with a young man named August Alsina, and he's a singer, a very talented singer at that. And basically, it is said that they were together and dating and seeing each other about 4 years ago. And Will and Jada had decided to split. And so she was seeking something to basically feel her pain. And at the time, August was also experiencing a lot of pain in his life. So they just kind of were drawn to each other. And August decided to come out recently and tell the world he did date Jada Smith while her and Will were married, but they were separated. And he said that Will gave his consent, which was mind-blowing. And he also said that he was very, very in love with Jada. And so Jada came out with a red table talk, and her and Will discussed what happened in, I guess, the way that they felt best. I do think that in the media, you're going to portray things the way that you want it, in order to not, I guess, be the bad guy or really fully accept that there was some wrong to what you did. She definitely felt like what she did really wasn't a transgression. She felt like it was just a part of her healing process. And hey, if that's how she takes it, okay. But you could definitely see that through her healing process and her choosing to do this, and she calls it an entanglement, her getting entangled with this young man who is, I believe, 15 to 20 years younger than her. She gets entangled with this man who's in emotional distress, and she starts dating him and showing him what he believes to be real love while her and Will are separated. But then some time later, she decides that her and Will can make it work. But then you have her husband who is hurt because he knows that, you know, they're gonna have to get past the fact that she has been in this entanglement. And I'm not saying that anybody in this situation was right. I'm just saying you have to be responsible of your actions. And I'm sure that Will was doing his thing too. Absolutely. I am sure he was doing his thing too. But when you sign up to be separated, or when you sign up to do certain things within your marriage, you got to know what it comes with. And if you're the person who is in the so-called entanglement, dating this married person, you also have to know what comes with that. And that if they're separated but not divorced, there's a chance they can get back together. So it's just a lot of things that goes into that. And overall, I think that the lesson that people should take from this is not that, oh, it's great to be in an entanglement. Okay, this is encouraging for me. So when I get married, if things go downhill, boom, we'll get entangled. Or even while I'm dating, I'll just be entangled with several people and just, you know, deal with my emotions however I deal with my emotions. But this is not a responsible way to do things. Of course, everybody has a choice, but if you're not really ready to be committed to one specific person, or if you're not in a space to honor your marriage, then you just need to be upfront with that. And you don't need to play with people's emotions. There needs to be some responsibility and some boundaries around relationships that are open. So I just think that people need to be mindful of how they go about handling situations like this. And I'm hoping that people are not encouraged by this just because they're famous actors. Because at the end of the day, as you can see, there's a lot of mess involved with this as well. There's a lot of emotional hurt and pain that you can see. And that you know that's what it comes with. So you just gotta be mindful. Just gotta be mindful. And don't look at what these celebrities are doing and just believe that because they're doing it, it's the best decision for you. Don't. Not so. Okay, so I recently heard of Walmart deciding that they might use their parking lots to actually have drive-through movie theaters set up in the parking lots for customers to come and have a way of movie theater entertainment right in the Walmart parking lot. And I recently told you guys before, I went to my first drive-in movie theater, and it's a real drive-in movie theater. You have the huge outdoor screen, and you have a lot of cars parked in the grass, and there's the concession, you know, the cafe area. But Walmart is thinking about actually doing this with their parking lots. And I would never have expected this, but I mean, this is a perfect time to get creative and get bold and draw people in, because there's a lot of things that people can't do that still haven't quite reopened yet. So why not? I'm all for it. This is very creative. Walmart is obviously a family store. So if you have families coming shopping at your store, why not have them get a 2-in-1? Get their groceries and their entertainment. I think this is really cool, very creative, and I hope that they actually do this. Next, I heard Nick Cannon, his talk show is postponed to next year, but there's no official premiere date for his up-and-coming talk show. He was a host on Wild 'N Out, and he was recently let go because of some things that he said that were taken as wrong or taken as disrespectfully, even though he was speaking in his truth and he may not have meant to be disrespectful. It was taken in a context of being disrespectful, and he was let go. He took responsibility of the things that he said, and not only that, he tried to fix it, and people got upset even about the apology. So it was just like he was doing the best he could in all areas to fix it, and people still had an issue. And he was just saying how hard it is just to try to move forward in these moments. But again, you never know what people are going through. There's been a lot going on in the news media with celebrities dealing with suicide and just things of this nature and experiencing feelings of hopelessness. And it's just important to encourage someone and lift someone up. If you don't have anything nice or positive to say, keep it to yourself. That goes on the internet as well. In person and on the internet. Just because you're behind a phone or a screen, don't get bold and start being rude to people and saying things that you wouldn't say in person, because these are humans too. No matter how much money they have or what position or title they have, these are humans, okay? They have feelings. And there's no point of you putting negativity out there if it's not to actually help encourage someone or teach them something that could be of benefit. So be mindful of these things. Everyone is human. Don't knock someone down when they're already down. You never know what a person is going through. So shout out to Nick Cannon. I hope that everything works out for him and he's able to get his new show launched and just start on some new business ventures. Maybe it was time for something new anyway. Shout out to Nick Cannon though. Wishing you the best. Last but not least in our coffee scoop, I just found out a couple hours ago that Nicki Minaj is pregnant and I was mind blown. So I know she got married earlier this year or like the end of last year. Nonetheless, you know, there's just a few celebrities that you're always sitting around hoping that they will finally get pregnant, and she was one of them. You know, she's in her, I believe, close to mid-30s now. And, you know, we've seen her kind of be the wild child. And it's just nice for her to finally settle down and decide to start a family. So I'm excited for her, happy for her, wishing her and her husband the best on this new journey that they're entering and in motherhood and in parenthood. All right, guys, so now it is time for Mystery Celebrity. I am going to read to you several celebrity quotes, and these are just inspirational, motivational quotes, and you're gonna have to try to guess which celebrity actually said these quotes, and I'm going to give you their names at the very end. The first one is, you can only become truly accomplished at something that you love. Don't make money your goal. Instead, pursue the things you love doing, and then do them so well that people can't take their eyes off of you. I like that. Here's the next one. Decide that you want it more than you're afraid of it. And the last one is, love the life you live the life you love. And none but ourselves can free our minds. All right, so those are the 3 celebrity inspirational quotes, and I'm gonna name to you who said these and why I picked them. So the first quote comes from Maya Angelou, and I just thought this was very inspiring because as you chase your dreams and your goals, you never want to get so caught up that you're doing things just for the money, or you're forgetting to enjoy it because you're caught up on just material and worldly aspects of life. Of course, it's good to be able to provide and live life in abundance, but I believe that abundance will come to you when you're doing the things that you love. So I really like this quote. And the next one is by Bill Cosby. Despite, you know, the recent legal things that he's been in, this quote is good, okay? And he's basically saying, decide that you want this more than you're afraid. So whatever it is that you want for yourself, don't allow fear to take over that dream, okay? You gotta want it more than you feel afraid. So I thought this was awesome as well. And the last one is by Bob Marley. And he's saying that only we can free our minds. You have to choose that you want to be free and live free, and you have to walk in it every day. And you have to love the life you live, but also live the life that you actually love. So not everything is going to come easy, but we have choices to make, decisions that will propel us forward and eventually get us to where we want to be. You can I believe that you can pray, manifest, and attract the life that you want, even if there are things that have been in the way or things that have tried to distract you. You can stay on track and you can attract those blessings to you with constant dedication, with being positive, with just working hard and staying consistent. I believe that you can definitely attract the life you want, but in the meantime, you also have to be content and work with what you have. That's how you really have joy and peace, is being able to be grateful in whatever stage of life that God has you in. So those were our inspirational quotes of the day. Okay, so now and lastly, it is time to spin the wheel. So let's see what we land on. Truth. Okay, let's see what we got here. All right, so I landed on truth, and I have a whole bunch of truth, dare, and would you rather questions on this index card. So I'm gonna pick one, and the first one that I see is to name a funny or a crazy, embarrassing moment. I guess I'll name a car accident of mine that I had. This was pretty embarrassing because it made no sense why I got into this car accident, okay? So I had been driving by myself for probably a year and a half when this happened. I started driving by myself at like 16, 9 months without parents and everything, because you know you have to go through a process with your learners, provisionals, da-da-da-da. So I believe I was 17 and a half, possibly close to 18, somewhere in that range. And I was just getting off of work, and it was late. It was probably like 10 o'clock at night, and I was just getting off of work. I was working at Hair Cuttery at the time as a receptionist. And I was just so happy to be off work. We had closed the store. And I was like, oh yeah, I'm excited, I'm off work. I was whipping through the parking lot, whipping them turns real fast because I'm excited, probably thinking about getting me some fast food or whatever, some french fries, some ice cream or whatever, because you know those are my favorites. And I literally smacked into the curb, and my wheel just bust off. Like my wheel literally exploded, all because I'm excited to be off work. Nobody hit me. I wasn't about to hit nobody else. I'm literally just whipping through the parking lot, excited, and I just run smack dab into the curb. And I'm sitting there, and you can imagine how blown I am and disappointed I am at this point, because my excitement went from here to boom. All that energy just left me. And I was just like, wow, that is such a disappointment. And I didn't really know what to do at the time. So I called my dad. And it was so unfortunate because I had to get him up and get him out there. My job was about 20 minutes away from the house, so not too bad, but it's still annoying enough to have to leave your home at night to go, pick up your daughter for something that you know could have been avoided. Well, accidents sometimes are completely out of our control, but other times we could have avoided it. And this was just so stupid. Like, this was embarrassing for me because I was so excited to be off work, and then boom, I just hit the curb for no reason. Of course, you see people driving past, and I know whoever saw me actually hit that curb was bawling laughing, but I was so embarrassed, and I had to just sit there until my dad could get up, get ready, get dressed, and get there. And it probably didn't take him that long, but it feels long in the moment because you're sitting there and everybody's just driving past and you're just looking pitiful. And so thankfully I was in a safe parking lot, but I was still by myself. So I probably stayed in the car until my dad got there. Thankfully it wasn't anything really bad or anything like that, but we ended up, I believe we left my car there overnight, and we came back the next day and put a new tire on it. But just imagine having to explain to your parent, like, I was just excited. That's all. I was just excited. That's why I bust my tire open. Just excitement. So yeah, so that was an embarrassing moment of mine. I was much younger, but it's just funny the things that you do when you're young, because I feel like you don't always handle everything responsibly because you're still learning. And life is just so exciting to you when you're finally starting to get a little bit of freedom. And yeah, that was my embarrassing moment. So all right, guys, this wraps up Gigi's Coffee for today, everyone. I hope that you enjoyed it. We covered a lot of different things. And again, thank you all so much for sticking around. I'll see you all next time.